y'all, today we are going to make a fall harvest steak salad. This one's really yummy. It's full of lots of veggies, which the kids love. So we're going to start with marinating our meat first. It just needs like 10 minutes to sit. So today I just have a sirloin steak, and I have 2 pounds. You can do less because there's 6 of us, and my kids love steak, especially my Gigi. She is a huge, sorry, I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. Huge fan of steak. And she's real funny because she likes to order and just be like, I like it bloody, which kind of sounds crazy, but that's how we like our steak. Okay, so for the marinade, we're gonna go ahead and do some olive oil, or avocado, sorry, avocado oil. And we just need a tablespoon of that. Since I'm doing 2 pounds, I'll go ahead and double that marinade, so there's enough. So I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of avocado. I keep saying olive oil, avocado oil. And then do a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. And then let's do some garlic. Let's see, let me get some bigger pieces. Now, last time I said I like to cut mine, by hand chop them. But for today, for the marinade, we'll use the mincer because it is gonna get them soft enough for that. So for the garlic, you're just gonna do like, I don't know if I already said how many. Let's do 3. All right, that's 1. In my family, we love to watch the cooking shows. So when we were first married, I used to watch them by myself. But now that with the kids, they like to watch them with me, or even by themselves now too. But I always loved how they would smash their cloves, like with their knife. I always thought that was pretty cool. All right, so we'll just put them in here and go ahead and mince them. It just comes out on that side. I'll make it small enough for the marinade. All right, and then we're just gonna do some salt and pepper to, I'll come over here, to taste. I mean, you're not gonna taste it, but just give it some color in there. All right, and we'll just mix that around with our fork. All right, and here's our steak. I'm just gonna set these in there. I have, each one of mine, I guess, is almost 2 pounds because it's 2 pounds, and I have 2 of them in this little package. All right, so we're just gonna let those 2 pieces sit. So we'll let it sit for like 5 minutes and then flip it to the other side for 5 minutes. Okay. And then now I gotta find all my lids. All right, so now we'll go ahead and get started on the harvest part of the salad. All right, so we have some sweet potatoes. So we're gonna go ahead and peel those real quick. I'm gonna do like probably 3 sweet potatoes, and we're just gonna chop them. Just chop them into cubes. That'll work. And we'll throw those in the oven. We'll cut them with some avocado oil and throw them in the oven. Sorry, my trash can's over here. I need to scoot my camera over. We are, over the years, have substitute sweet potatoes for regular potatoes. And so we have grown to like them. My husband's always loved them. When we were first dating and married, we'd go out to eat and he would order a sweet potato for his side over a baked potato. And I was like, that's disgusting. But over the years, we've learned to substitute for it. And now we like it. And most of the kids, I wouldn't say all of them prefer it 100%, but most times they're good with it. They've gotten used to eating it all the time now. grab one more. That's a big one. Now this is, just like I said the other day, you can just kind of add and switch things up. If you want to, whatever you prefer in a veggie in here. But, you know, it's using your fall vegetables, and they're getting more of those in your diet, which is good to have. Okay, let's go ahead and chop these up. All right, we're just gonna cube them. Falling off the counter just about. All right. Kind of want them like cubed a little bit bite size since it is for a salad. You don't want to like have pieces that you can't kind of put in your mouth and too big. So I usually just look for salads or different things for different ideas and see what I could substitute to make it a healthier option for our family and switch things up and eliminate, you know, sugars or different things that might have dairy and stuff like that in it. This one's nice because it's just going to be all veggies with the steak, which then my kids will enjoy because they love steak. All right, so here are our sweet potatoes all cut up, and we're just gonna set them on that pan behind me. I don't know if you can see it. So we're gonna throw those in the oven. So sweet potatoes, kind of cubed, about bite size. A pan with parchment paper. I'll move it so you guys can see onto the stove. So we have that, and then we're gonna add some squash. Some butternut squash next in there. Now, these ones are a little bit harder to cut at first. All right. And you probably don't need the whole thing, but you could use it. We're going to use about half of it, I'd say. And in this one, we're going to leave it ringed. That way it'll be a different shape. Than the sweet potatoes. Give it a different thing. All right. We have about like 4 to 6 rings. All right. Okay, so then we're gonna go ahead and bring this, toss it with our avocado oil. Now I have found this Primal, they're a very clean company, so they're good. I really like them. So just give it a toss. A little bit of my salt and cracked pepper on there. All right, and I've already preheated the oven to, I did 425 because I like it to cook faster and speed it up a little bit. So you could cook it at a lower, like, you know, 350, 375, but I try to do it faster because I kind of like mine to be crispy too. So I do it at higher. And then at the end, sometimes if it's not crispy enough, I will turn on the broiler and roast it a little bit more. All right, I'm going to toss these in the oven. It's a good thing my camera doesn't show the oven. I never clean my oven. Are y'all that way? It's so dirty in there. It's probably embarrassing. I should do it, but it's a whole ordeal to turn it on and let it sit. And it smells. So, all right, so we have that. And then in the other heat pan, if you can fit them all, if you have a really big pan, I don't have a pan that big, we're gonna do some cauliflower and Brussels sprouts. So here's the cauliflower just at the grocery that we had, and it's an organic one. So we'll give it a little rinse. Sometimes with the organic stuff, they need to be rinsed down. All right. Now, I don't know the official way, but I kind of just peel these leaves back until I can get my knife like right in there. And then that's how I like pop the cauliflower out. So now it's mostly gone. And then I just kind of cut into it like that to get the pieces. So then they just pop off. And so we'll just cut that, as well as we'll kind of try to make these a little bit more bite-sized. We have been experimenting a ton with the cauliflower. We'll have to show you guys, we make the cauliflower mashed potatoes, and those are really good. The kids liked them. So, and the reason why is just because potatoes, white potatoes, are not a great low inflammation food. So we found a substitute for that. And so we can still have mashed potatoes, because mashed potatoes are good, especially when you have steak or, you know, different things you want to have. I don't know, you just grew up with it, so it feels right. All right. Let's cut up these little, I guess I say cut them. I didn't make them too bite-sized. I kind of made them like medium. Like I almost quartered them, I guess, more so. All right, this is our whole head. Let's see if I can carry it behind me without it falling. Of cauliflower. Yep. Oh, see, I'm dropping pieces. All right. And then next we'll do our Brussels sprouts. Jax is watching. All right, same thing as last time. So if you grab a Brussels sprout, you see like these ones are, no, they're not wilted last time. So you just take off the little ones that are kind of peeping out. I kind of just peel those back. And then I cut this part of the part sticking out. So then it's kind of flat, and then you're just gonna have them. So cut them in half. And then I'll bring my pan over here and throw them in there. So we'll do most of the bag of the Brussels sprouts. It's interesting. Our HEB sells them in like this little mesh bag. Well, if you go to Kroger's, they sell them in a big old bag, and lately they've been huge. Like they've been about that big instead of, you know, this. They're almost like twice the size. So either way, they're the same. It works. But I try to mix it up so we're not always just have like plain salad, you know, that can get boring. So this one will be fun because it's getting all the veggies in there and still salad with the steak and kind of fall-like, kind of bringing the season. Even though today it's not feeling very fall-y. The other day we kind of we're here in Houston, we're in North Houston, kind of chilly, but that was what, Friday night? Yeah, there was some chill. But today it's kind of warm or muggy. It's really muggy out. I do love that we live here in Texas. We are born and raised here. Because you always have the warm weather. Every now and then we get a little bit of chill, but we are not cold-natured people. We like to visit the snow and then come home. Oh, that one's a pretty big one. Do you see that? Like, that's a good size. Usually a lot smaller. All right. There's probably like, I don't know, maybe 10. So then I'll give you about 20 little Brussels sprouts or so in a bag. Maybe there's a little bit more, can vary. I guess the hardest thing is just peeling that loose layer on them, but it doesn't take but just a minute to do a whole bag, so it's not bad. I just threw the loose leaf into my pan. All right, just like 4 more. Then we'll do the same thing. We're gonna coat these with the avocado oil and then toss it with some salt and pepper. But with these, we're gonna add some rosemary to it. Oh, there's one of the phones ringing. It tends to do every time I come on live. Like our house is usually pretty quiet. Things don't ring. But then we come on live and all the phones ring. I'll let it go. My hands are covered. Okay, so let's do our avocado oil. Just coat it. Same one, the Primal Kitchen. It's a good one. And then, I don't know, like 2 tablespoons. Season with salt. And it's that same real salt we used last week. That's really good. And then some fresh cracked pepper on top. And then, so I went to get the ingredients for this Saturday at the grocery store. And I got, oh goodness, fresh rosemary. My rosemary already wilted. That's crazy. So if you don't have fresh, I have dry. So we're just gonna use the dry and just sprinkle that right on top. I don't know, like a teaspoon is fine. And then we'll add a little bit of garlic. This one I'm gonna chop up. Let's do 3 pieces of garlic. And go ahead and flip over your steak so it can marinate on the other side. It's probably been a good 5 minutes. So we can get that side, some flavor on there. My kids are doing school right now. They're being very quiet, very good. But they like to sneak in and watch too. It's cute. All right, so this one I'm just gonna cut up. And then just throw it right on top of the Brussels sprouts and cauliflower. Some extra flavor there. All right, so here's our cauliflower and Brussels sprouts. Just kind of mix. They don't have to be separated. It'll work. All right, and we'll throw that one in the oven too. All right, so now I think we'll be ready for the steaks. We can get those started. While those veggies are cooking, we'll go ahead and get to the steak. I have Brussels sprout leaves all over my counter because my trash can's on the other side. All right, I already turned my cast iron skillet. I have had it on warm so it'd be hot when we put it in there. Give it a good sizzle. Now, this is depending on where you are. So I did say we are dairy free except for butter because we didn't react to butter. We act fine to it, so we're okay with it. And I love butter and I don't want to live without it. So you can do avocado oil in the pan. Gigi, will you grab me the butter dish? Or you can throw butter. I prefer to throw butter in there, so I'm gonna do that. You can go the avocado oil route or a little bit cleaner. We did find this fun, thanks G, butter dish. It's at Walmart and I like it because every other butter dish we've had has the lid that comes up and the butter sits on the plate and then my kids break the lid. Well, the lid just comes up. So that's kind of nice that then my kids don't break it, the lid. And so we're just gonna scoop like a tablespoon of butter into the pan. And then we can just throw a whole stick in there. It doesn't look pretty because it's in a dish over like a plate. All right, let's get that to melt. All right, throw our steak on there. Oh, that smells good. I love the smell of garlic. I'll get the rest of the juice in there too. All right, we're just gonna sear each side. So, you know, like 2 minutes to brown each side. And then we're gonna toss it in the oven the rest of the way to cook. That. Let me grab. Okay, while that's cooking for a minute, we'll take a moment. Let me throw these counters like covered in the Brussels sprout leaves. Throw those out real quick. Oh no, my garlic. And we'll work on the dressing now while everything's getting cooked. Okay, so for the dressing, we're gonna need some olive oil. I keep all my things I use all the time. So olive oil, avocado oil, and then the salt. Oh, that's pepper. Pepper and the ground salt. I keep them just on this white dish right by the stove because I use them frequently, like almost every day for something that we're cooking. And then I lost my teaspoon. There it is. All right, so tablespoon. We're gonna need 3 tablespoons of your olive oil. So years ago, when we moved back to Texas, because we lived in California for a little bit when my husband graduated chiropractic school, there was a grocery store in the Woodlands called Hubble and Hudson, and they had olive oil with the pulp at the bottom, which I loved. It gave it so much flavor. And then that grocery store went out of business. So it was hard to find, but then I found this years ago at the grocery store, and it's got the same thing. I don't know if you can see, but do you see how there's like pulp in there? I like to find the olive oil with the pulp in it. That's my favorite. All right, so in our bowl, we have just olive oil right now, and then some apple cider vinegar, and we use the Bragg's organic one, and it's the same thing. It's got the pulp, so give it a little shake. And for that, we're gonna do 2.5 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. How many of you guys just take it daily? We've gone, I wouldn't say we have a, goodness, that stuck on there. We don't have a habit of doing it. We go through phases where we have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar a day. It's a little longer on there. Okay. So that's 1, 2, and then we'll do 1/2 of 1. And if not, if you pour more, it's fine. It's not a big deal. All right, and then now we'll do some Dijon mustard. Now, I've always used the Grey Poupon because it's a fun name and whatnot, right? That's what I always think of when I think of the Dijon mustard. But when I went to go get some at the grocery store to make this, because I was all out, I realized that it had sugar in there. And so what's crazy is, and every day I have found they add sugar to things that you don't need. I think it just probably helps to spread it out so you can get more product. But it'd make things sweeter, but it's just not needed. So I did find this one and it didn't. It's not organic or anything, but it doesn't have any sugar. So I always try to read the ingredients to make sure it doesn't have sugar in there. All right, so the Groupon, we'll use a teaspoon. That was my tablespoon. That's fine. A teaspoon and a half. I just won't fill it because I don't have my teaspoon out. Of the Dijon mustard. And then we'll do 1 clove, and I will try to find my biggest clove I have. I have a whole container full of garlic here because we use a ton of it. Those are all little bitty ones. Don't you hate when they're like teeny tiny ones? I feel like to. So I'm going to use 2 because these are not big pieces of garlic. And then so for the dressing, I will use the mincer just because it gets it finer for the dressings. So just plop them in there, and then you just push them out at the other end. So I just used 2 because, like, look how small these ones are. These are like itty little bitty. Usually, you know, one would be this is big. All right, so then we have our garlic. Now we are going to add a teaspoon of honey. So our friend down the road has, let's go ahead and turn these sticks over, has honeybees, and they do, or I should say grow, you don't grow honey, but raise the bees. So she brought us this jar, so this is fresh honey, which is always nice. So we're going to do what I say. I have to look at my notes over here. A teaspoon. So I just have half of a teaspoon, so I'll double that. And you know what I didn't do? I usually spray my spoon with like an avocado oil to help it so the honey will run right out, because otherwise it all sticks to the spoon. So you guys honey fans? My husband's a huge honey fan. He would prefer to put honey on his like waffles, pancakes, while we're more of like a maple, the rest of us are a maple syrup fan. So he loves honey. All right, so we'll go ahead and add salt and pepper to taste, you know, just a few cracks of the pepper, a little bit of salt. All right, and then we'll just whisk that in there. Let's get the garlic, it's on the bowl. Now you don't have to add the honey. If you're like early on in a low inflammation diet, you can just skip the honey. That's fine, because a lot of people don't do honey because it does and can spike your insulin, so you can omit it. All right, I have it in a huge bowl. I needed a little smaller bowl, but there you go. Can you all kind of see it? There is our dressing. Okay, we will throw this in the oven so it can cook the rest of the way. And I'm gonna, the cast iron gets really hot, so I'm gonna use a heating pan, or hot pan. So I can throw it in here. Try to balance that. Okay. Now while that's cooking, we'll set our dressing aside and save that for a minute in our dirty dish. Okay, so to assemble our salad, I have this cute pumpkin bowl I had gotten years ago, so that'll be cute to put it in. I already have some baby kale, so we're gonna put kale in there. You could do spinach too, or regular lettuce if you like that. I will chop it so it's not so big. Then my kids, I'll just slice it just a tad. That way my kids won't complain about a big piece of leaf they're having to eat. So I just cut it so then they're kind of like, you know, smaller pieces over a huge leaf. And go ahead and just use the whole container of salad. Yep, so don't worry. If you don't like kale, go with the spinach. Or if not, you can do, you know, romaine lettuce is fine too. I mean, I would probably just stick away from iceberg since it's not the most nutritious lettuce there is. All right, so we got our bowl filled of our kale. All right, and then we're gonna get some of our apples. So I kind of like, everybody has a preference for apples, so use whatever apples you like. I like these Gala apples because they're a little bit soft, but you can use the Fiji, the red apples. Let me wash these real quick. Rinse them. My girls like bright red apples. I don't prefer those bright red apples. Let me turn the stove and turn that off. And then for these, we'll just slice them. And then just after we're done slicing our apples, we're gonna set them aside and we'll top them with our salad. So you don't want them too thick, you know, just a good little slice. Well, did y'all enjoy the cool weather we had on Saturday? Or not Saturday, Friday. I keep getting my days confused. That was nice. Got chilly. I am a huge fan of hot chocolate. It's my favorite drink, which we'll have to talk about another day because that's something you would have to figure out how to do with a low inflammation diet. So I woke up thinking, I really would like hot chocolate. And then when the weather was chilly out, I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. I can have a cup. And we sat on the porch. And then my daughter woke up this morning like, oh, she felt the window and was like, oh, I think it's cold. I think I should have hot chocolate. And I was like, I don't think it is cold. My husband said, she's just like you. Any excuse to have a cup of hot chocolate. That is our favorite around the house. Everybody has a favorite kind of drink. That's definitely ours. Okay, that one's a little thick. Let me slice that one thinner. Okay, and then it's optional if you want to top it with cranberries. I love cranberries, and that's a good thing to add to a salad. Extra little sweetness. So you can just leave the apples or you can add the cranberries. So I have some organic one. Sadly, I have not been able to find any that don't have sugar. So when we first started the low inflammation diet, I didn't eat the cranberries, but I've worked on incorporating. I wish I could find some that didn't have any sugar in them. I don't know why cranberries have them, but nothing else, you know, like raisins and stuff you can find without sugar. But, okay, let's see how our vegetables are doing. We need to go ahead and flip those over. Give them a toss. And then same thing with your cauliflower. Go ahead and give that a little tossing her. We'll let that cook a few more minutes. Now I will, at this point, they're soft, but they're not quite brown. Here, I'll bring you guys with me so you can see. Now don't judge the oven, like I said. So they're starting, some of them are starting to get, can you see in there? Brown, but we want them faster. So I will turn on the broiler. So that'll speed that up on the top and the bottom. So that way those can get a little bit more toasty and quicker. All right, so now we're just gonna wait a few more minutes for those to warm up, and then we'll assemble. You're just gonna, since everything's already cut up to size, you can just throw in your, mine always goes blank, your Brussels sprouts, your cauliflower, your squash, and your sweet potato, and then top with your apples and cranberries, and then drizzle with your dressing. And then the steak, you'll just slice it, and then there's your dinner. Pretty simple and yummy. You know what, since those are taking a few minutes, we'll go ahead and I will post a picture of what it looks afterwards. You guys have a great Monday and do something fun and exciting. All right, have a good day.